lifted me. Love lifted me. I was sad and feeling down, far from the peaceful shore. Kinda lonely, no one around, thinking I'd smile no more. Then the Spirit heard my plea, heeding my mournful cry. From the waters lifted me, now safe am I. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. When nothing else could help, my love, nothing else could help. Now love lifted me.
All my heart to God I give, ever to Him I'll cling. In the blessed presence live, and all my praises sing. Love is so mighty and so true, deserves my soul's best song. Faithful, loving service to God belongs. Here we go, Michael.
Love lifted me. Love lifted me. When nothing else could help, now love lifted me. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. When nothing else could help, now love lifted me.
Come on and join us.
Love lifted me.
Sing along.
Love lifted me. When nothing else could help, now love lifted me. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. When nothing else could help, now love lifted me. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. Love lifted me.
Right. And now it's time for our lovely songbirds to come on up, and we're going to do a little I Love Myself the Way I Am. So please stand in the sanctuary here and out there in TV land. And we got a little disco to start us off. 1, 2, 3, and... Here we go. Love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful.
How beautiful was that? And I love you. That song has such special meaning for me. Dr. Tom Costa, who started the Palm Desert Center for Spiritual Living way back in the 60s. 60s, yes. He used to sing that song from the pulpit. And he was great, you know, it was wonderful. So we sang that song a lot, and I love the message. I love myself just the way I am. Don't need to change a thing because I am a spiritual being. You are spiritual beings. So welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Capistrano Valley. My name is Judy Chapman, and I am your assistant minister. And welcome home. Welcome home. What does that mean? Home, a place of love, a place of comfort, a place of understanding, a place of inclusivity, a place where we can feel secure. And that's what this place is for me. It's home. So welcome home, everyone. This is a trans-denominational center, which simply means that we welcome every path, all faith, all religions, everybody. No matter who you are and where you've been and what you're doing, you are welcome here. So welcome home to this beautiful Sunday morning that it just rained outside. It was so exciting. Woke up and there was rain. I'm just going, wait a minute, it's 80 degrees, you know, but it's weird. Let's do the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence that we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience that we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and the practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring that Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and the path of peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as Reverend Alice Reid lights that last candle, let us represent the path that brought you here this morning. Now please join me for 2 minutes of sacred silence.
join me for this invocation. The power and the presence of the one life, the one love, permeates all life. So I know as we come together to be in spiritual community that there is a power and a presence that is raised up in our awareness, in our togetherness, and in community this morning. I trust that as we move through this morning and even out into our day and into our week, that there is a grace and an ease that flows through us, as us, and by us. And so I trust that everything that happens this morning as we join together for spiritual community happens with purpose to support that ease and grace throughout our lives. And so I know the perfect integration of meditation, music, and message, and the community. And I give great thanks for this. I simply surrender my word, knowing it is done. And together we say, and so it is. Join me in our global vision. We have a much more expanded global vision, but this is the just the 5 pieces of the global vision that we're focusing on for the month of June. So here we go. We see a world that works for all, where humanity discovers personal creative power, where we live as one global family, where communities are involved in meaningful service to the world, and where there is peace, harmony, and justice for all. And our affirmation for today: I embrace who I am and the Holy Spirit that expresses itself as me, and so it is.
And thank you, Reverend Alice. And now I am delighted to bring Michael Garamoni to the stage.
Hello, hello. Love is a funny thing. Whenever I give it, it comes back to me. And it's wonderful to be giving with my whole heart as my heart receives your love. Oh, ain't it nice this life we've got each other? And I am right beside you, more than just a sister or a brother. I'm your friend. When you love someone, your heartbeat beats so loud. When you love someone, your feet can't feel the ground. Ooh, shining stars all seem to congregate around your face. When you love someone, it comes back to you. And love is a funny thing. It's making my blood flow with energy. And it's like an awakened dream, 'cause what I've been wishing for is happening, and it's right on time. Oh, ain't it nice this life we've got each other? And I am right beside you, more than just a sister or a brother. I'm your friend. When you love someone, your heartbeat beats so loud. When you love someone, lifting up to touch the starlight. And we will savor every second we suspend together. You and I will, you and I will, you and I will. When you love someone, your heartbeat beats so loud. When you love someone, your feet can't feel the ground. Ooh, shining stars all seem to congregate around your face. When you love someone, it comes back to you.
Thank you, Michael. That was wonderful. What a great way to set up my talk this morning. Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Alice Reid, and I am the spiritual director here. Glad to be here this morning. I'm also one of your practitioners this morning. What you may not know about ministers is that we are practitioners first and foremost. So I'm happy to serve you as a practitioner as well. Class starts this Wednesday. If that's classes or something that has interested you, we have a really wonderful deep class coming up called Exploring Our Roots, where we get an opportunity to really begin to understand where Ernest Holmes got his inspiration. And so we'll be looking at selected pieces from Ralph Waldo Emerson, from Judge Thomas Troward, and from Emma Curtis Hopkins. We're putting some books together, so let us know, don't wait too long. So here we are, living out loud, and we're talking about loving out loud. And if you haven't seen the new issue of the Science of Mind magazine, you might notice that it's it's actually 2 issues in one. We have decided that in part of our work that we do at the home office, that we are trying to save some trees and some energy and put 2 issues in one. It actually saves quite a lot of money and quite a lot of resources. But in this side, Loving Out Loud, there's a great article in here from K.C. Taylor, Reverend K.C. Taylor, and she talks about loving out loud. She's actually also been the inspiration for all of our themes this month. And she simply says that in the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes wrote, "Love is the self-givingness of spirit." Love isn't just the good feelings that come with being happy in our lives. Love is also the moment when everything seems to go wrong. Every moment of conflict, discord, and discontent is designed to connect us further with our personal understanding of love. That's quite a statement, isn't it? Because we live in a culture that happens to, how should I say, romanticize love quite a bit. It's in poetry, it's in songs, it's in the media we watch, whether it's television or going to see a rom-com in the movie theater. There's all this, how should I say it, projection of cultural norms, right, that show up in the different love songs and movies and media that we subscribe to, the literature that we read. And one of the things that I want to address this morning is how we've been conditioned to kind of pigeonhole love into one specific way it can show up. I was at a concert at a Stevie Wonder, what do they call those, tribute band, right? And the Stevie impersonator, he wasn't pretending to be blind, thank God, but he was doing a beautiful job singing his songs, and he was singing that one song about getting weak in his knees and, loving so much. And gosh, I could feel myself sort of like expand as I heard that song, like, oh yes, that's what I want too, right? Because it touches us, right? It moves us as when we hear this. So as we look at this idea of loving out loud, and today we're looking at love without conditions, I want to suggest that we have kind of packaged this thing called love into a place where it might have some conditions, where we don't understand seeing love in anything other than the packaging that we have received through literature and songs and movies and media. And as I look at this way that we've been conditioned by our society, I was also thinking about one of the first authors that I really began to resonate with as they talked about love. And it's a real blast from the past. His name is Leo Buscaglia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. An amazing author, amazing speaker. And he talked about love in a way I had never heard before. He talked about love so I'll share some of it with you. I thought that was the best way, because if you haven't experienced Leo, he has this one quote where he says, love and the self are one, and the discovery of either is the realization of both. And last week we talked about loving ourselves and how when we don't love ourselves, when there are places within us that we don't love ourselves, that sometimes we project that out and begin to do this thing that I like to refer to, as does Emma Curtis Hopkins, this thing called othering. We begin to other whatever it is we don't love in ourselves and project it out onto other people. And so Leo says, so loving yourself involves the discovery of the true wonder of you, not only the present you, but the many possibilities of you. It involves the continual realization that you are unique like no other person in the world, and that life is, or should be, the discovery, the development, and the sharing of this uniqueness. The process is not always easy, for one is bound to find those who will feel threatened by a changing, growing you. But it will always be exciting, always be fresh, and like all things new and changing, never be dull. So Leo encourages us to love ourselves, to really begin to appreciate our uniqueness, our diversity, if you will, that place in us that makes us different from everyone else. And some of our differences are more, they're more easily identifiable, right? When we just look at people, we have different colored hair, we have different colored eyes, we have different colored skin. And one of the things that has happened over the many, many years of us romanticizing love and looking at this common thread of what I'll call white heterosexual love, right? That's pretty much what we hear in songs and movies and literature. We've been conditioned to think that that's the only place that love really exists. And we've had this amazing movement in our culture over the first time I became aware of the shift in that, I must have been, about this tall. And she said, and she pointed out a couple that was interracial. And she said, no matter what they say, there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. And I went back into my, innocence and not understanding the world of differences, but I remember that distinctly. Like, what is she talking about? I don't understand. Who cares who people love? And I too, like you, have been conditioned with all the wonderful media that we work with to think about love and our relationships with love with someone who is like us. I looked at some statistics, and I want to share them with you, that over the last 50 years, the demographics of our country have really changed quite a bit. About 1 in 10 people identifies either as gender neutral or as LGBTQAI. Yeah, I had to practice that. And the reason I had to practice that is because I'm not in one of those initials. And so I can't, while I can't speak to it from who I am, I can tell you what I've learned about the beautiful souls that I have known and loved over the years, and what they've taught me about living in a world where they didn't see themselves. My first Science of Mind teacher was Jeffrey Proctor, Reverend Dr. Jeffrey Proctor. And I met him in the late 90s, and I was busy raising kids and, trying to get the 2 cars in the garage and all that stuff, and just trying to do my thing. And Jeffrey was different. And as a matter of fact, my mother introduced me to him. Thank you, Mother. And I learned that he was gay. And I remember, I didn't really have any awareness of differences or how difficult it was for individuals who were gay to be in our culture. I didn't realize the oppression that people who loved differently had to experience. And Jeffrey taught me that. But he taught it to me in a really loving way. He taught it to me by being authentically who he is. And his husband, Don Gilson, became a very dear friend of mine. And he also taught me through compassionate listening and through curiosity and through inquiry about what it was like for him, so that I could be more compassionate. Because I am white and heterosexual, and so I do see myself in the literature and the songs and the things that are about me. And so I didn't have that perspective. I didn't have the perspective of what it would be like not to see yourself anywhere. The Asilomar was happening, and there was this dance party at the end of every Asilomar conference. And so Jeffrey and Don were so much in love, and so the dance party was happening, and a slow song came on, and they went to start to dance with one another. And somebody in authority came up and whispered in their ear, "If you want to get ahead, you shouldn't do this." Now, I'm not going to tell you who it was. That person is amazing and open-minded now. But at the time, they were a product of all of this that I'm sharing with you, this enculturation that we've had over the last 50, well, before that, but, this enculturation that we've had for, I don't know how many hundreds of years about heterosexual loving. Don also told me a great story about when they candidated for the Baltimore church that I came up in. And so they were coming from another state, and when you candidate, well, that means that you come and you do a talk for people, and and they get to know you. And Don said he purposely wore a shirt that was unbuttoned down to here. And he showed up as who he was, and he said, "They're either going to love us or they're not." Thank God for the brave souls who have chosen to be authentic, because they are the ones who have helped to change the course and the tide of how we experience. I venture to say that if you're listening to me, if you're here today, you're probably okay with people who love differently than you. You're probably comfortable with that. There may be places inside you that aren't comfortable with that you're not aware of. As we look at this idea of loving without condition, what we're really talking about, and it may sound easy, sure, I love everybody. Yeah, I don't have anything against anybody. But if you're watching that gosh, there's a couple of really interesting TV shows that have come out on Netflix. And I'm going to tell you my own thing. There's one that's very graphic about a gentleman who's on the spectrum who is gay and is exploring love for the first time with same-sex partners. And it's graphic. It's not who I am, but I know that it's who about 10% of our population are. They love differently than us. And so my work is to look at that place where I'm a little uncomfortable. I wouldn't be uncomfortable watching a man and a woman like that. Well, maybe you would. Maybe a couple of you would. I mean, it wasn't pornography by any stretch of the imagination. Should I tell this story? My son was about 8 years old, and he was over at a friend's house watching Top Gun, right? And there's that love scene in Top Gun where Tom Cruise and Megan can't remember her last name, or they're having this love scene, and it's not real graphic, but at like 8 years old, my friend told me she watched my son as she leaned over to his buddy and said, "Don't worry, they're using artificial body parts." And we knew it was time to have the talk with him, to talk about how love works sometimes. But my point is, I wouldn't get, and the scenes were like that, if you will, and so I wouldn't get uncomfortable seeing a man and a woman like that. But I noticed my discomfort, and so what I'm suggesting here is that when we notice any discomfort, it's an opportunity for us to lean into love. You don't have to do it. You don't have to understand it, but maybe be compassionate about how other people love. Jeffrey used to say that love is love and the rest is plumbing. Right? And I love that, because when I first started really getting to know and to have a deep friendship with Jeffrey and with Don, I can remember the puzzling in my head, like, well, I don't really get it, but why does it matter? I love these people. And so that's just one example. I mean, I could go on to all the different, I was looking at all these stats of who we are as a nation, and 1 in 10 of us is probably LGBTQ. 19% of us are Latino, 13.6% of us are Black, 7% are Asian, 63% of us identify as non-Christian. Our population has really shifted in the last 50 years. And I don't have any evidence to this, because I looked, but I couldn't find any, but I want to venture to guess that our census over the last 50 years have not been really accurate. There's a code that they use in the census called the HTC populations. Those are the ones that are hard to count. Those are the minorities, people in poverty, people who are homeless, immigrants that might be illegal, people who primarily speak a different language, and youth. And so I think we've gotten a combination of getting better at counting and doing the census, and a combination of people feeling safer to be different than what is the perceived norm, have given us clearer numbers about who we are. I mean, and if you look at the world population, it's very diverse. If you look around this room, not so much. Except if you begin to inquire and get to know people, and you start to see who they are and the different preferences they have, and the different likes and the dislikes, or the occupations, or the marital status, or the age that we have. I mean, there's lots of invisible ways that we're diverse as well. And so this idea of loving without conditions is an invitation for us to explore where we do have conditions, where we do this thing called othering. Of course, in the last, I don't know, since 2016, it's been up around political differences, right? There's been a lot of othering around that. And I think social media has added to that because it's really easy for me to just type out an opinion and go do the dishes as opposed to look you in the eye and talk about it, right? And so our work as metaphysicians, our work as individuals who want to be conscious and conscious lovers is to open our minds and look for the places that we might have bias, look for the places we might accidentally do, or I'll say it this way, subtly do this thing called othering, to begin to bring ourselves back to a place of compassion and understanding. I know that our culture right now is trying to give voice to a lot of the what we would call minority populations, the Asian populations, the black population, the LGBTQ populations. Like they're getting more press, if you will. I remember, I'm such a cornball. One of my favorite shows when it was on was Glee. I just loved Glee. It was so much fun. And I remember a Christmas, the Christmas special, and it was Christmas classic, and Kurt begins to James Taylor and somebody, but here was this different example for me to look at. It was a way for me to open my mind to see things in a different light, and so when you see that, when you see this prevalence, while we might categorize these different populations as minorities, it's time for us to see everyone. It's time for us to see all of us, not just the perceived norm, so that we can expand ourselves and begin to press into those places. And what I want to say is when we begin to do this practice of loving without condition, which means having an open mind and having a broader sense of the differences that are around us, it begins to expand us in a way, just like that quote that Leo has here, when I'm gonna gender neutralize this, when a person has love, they are no longer at the mercy of the forces greater than themselves, for they themselves become the powerful force of love. Right? When we begin to let go of our sense of otherness. The other thing that kind of came up for me as I was thinking about this topic of loving without condition is that as I begin to open my mind and to be more broadly inclusive about the different ways that people are in our society, it actually brings me to a closer sense of oneness. And that seems kind of paradoxical, I know. But what happens is I first start by seeing the differences, and then I begin to see the similarities, right? Because I've gotten past the difference part. I've accepted it, I've integrated it, and so then I can see the oneness. But I think it's valuable for us to press into those places where we might have conditions. Now, I know this idea of loving without condition, kind of lends itself to things about a romantic relationship and loving your partner unconditionally, but I'm really talking about humanity here. I'm not really talking about romantic love. I'm talking about that agape love. I'm talking about this kind of love. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or conceited or proud. Love is not ill-mannered or selfish or irritable. Love does not keep a record of wrongs. Love is not happy with evil, but is happy with the truth. Love never gives up. Its faith, hope, and patience never fail. Love is eternal. And my experience with love, that of course is Corinthians. Some of you may have heard it before, or at least that last line. And my experience with love is that Love dissolves everything unlike it, not to become the same, but to embrace it all. Not to do away with the things that, or destroy the things that are unlike it, but to embrace life with its power and its grace. And so as we catch these places, sometimes it's just about catching and plucking out these places where we might have exceptions to God as love. It's our opportunity to pluck them out, to get them clear, and we do that through this power of love. Ernest Holmes has a great quote about love. He says, "The essence of love, while elusive, pervades everything, fires the heart, stimulates the emotions, renews the soul, and proclaims the spirit. Only love knows love, and love knows only love. Words cannot express its depth or meaning. A universal sense alone bears witness to the divine fact. God is love, and love is God." It's big. This thing called love is big. You know, we could probably talk about it all year, but we're only going to talk about it for a month. I kind of want to end my talk with you today to share with you this sweet video with Thich Nhat Hanh. And so, Mary, if you could get that started. We need to turn it up, change the volume around.
Be beautiful, be yourself.
Sei schön, sei du selbst.
We have to accept what we are. A lotus is beautiful as a lotus. She doesn't have to become a rose in order to be beautiful.
Wir müssen das akzeptieren, was wir sind. Eine Lotusblume ist schön als Lotusblume und sie muss nicht zu einer Rose werden, um schön zu sein.
To be a gay or a lesbian is equally beautiful.
Und schwul oder lesbisch zu sein, ist genauso gleich schön.
And we should not be caught by words and notions.
Und wir sollten nicht in Worten oder Vorstellungen gefangen sein.
Everything that we see manifests the wonders of God, of the ultimate reality.
Und alles, was wir sind, ist eine Manifestation von Gott, von der ultimativen Wirklichkeit.
And we have to deal with everyone, everything as with the most, the deepest kind of respect.
Und wir müssen jeder Sache und jedem Menschen mit dem größtmöglichen Respekt begegnen.
People say that I am a man, but I am not sure.
Die Leute sagen, ich sei ein Mann, aber ich bin mir da nicht so sicher.
Because I behave very often like a mother.
Weil ich mich sehr oft wie eine Mutter verhalte.
My disciples see in me a father, a teacher, and a mother at the same time.
Und meine Schüler, die sehen in mir einen Vater, einen Lehrer und eine Mutter und alles gleichzeitig.
And I enjoy being a mother.
Und ich genieße es, eine Mutter zu sein.
So let us not be caught by words and concepts.
Lasst uns also nicht in Worten und Vorstellungen gefangen sein.
In Buddhism we have the word suchness. It means reality as it is. You cannot use any concept or any word in order to describe it.
Im Buddhismus, da haben wir den Begriff des So-Seins. Und man kann keine Worte oder Vorstellungen benutzen, um das zu beschreiben.
beautiful. You know, I could have just shown you that. We could have gone home. But, but Thich Nhat Hanh really does describe this opportunity we have day in and day out to practice suchness, to see each other exactly as we are, unique, whole, perfect, and complete. And so my invitation to you this week is to find those small little subtle places where you may be holding on to otherness and apply love. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's pray. I get to pray with you twice today. What a treat. So as I lower my eyes and my gaze, I invite you to do the same. To let go of all the conditions and the things that we see around us, and to come into that one infinite reality that knows no time or space, knows no condition or effect. It just pours itself into life. For as Ernest Holmes says, love is the givingness of God to itself. And I know that each one of us is so divinely connected with that purpose. That not only is it a joy to be loved and to know that we are loved, but it is a joy to love as well. So as we move through our week this week, the invitation is to find those places where you might be tempted not to love, and to choose love instead. To be the vehicle, the expression of givingness that is God in form. As you, as me, as all life. And so as we lean into this proposition of loving without condition, I trust that it is easy and grace-filled for each one, and that it lifts us up and it gives us more joy than we could imagine as we begin to see the allness of God in everyone we come in contact with. I'm so grateful for this highest truth, this one infinite reality, as it continues to show up in the world over and over and over again. And I say yes to life. And I anchor this prayer in gratitude and blessings for all the ones who are willing to know love, to experience love, to receive love, to give love, and to make the world around them a more loving experience. And so it is with gratitude that I simply release this prayer. I know the power of the one mind and the one love and the law to carry it forward for each one. And so we simply release it. And together we agree with this and anchor it in that same love by saying, and so it is. Thank you. And now it's time to bring up the band and Michael Garamani.
Open up my eyes to daylight in my new city, where maybe I will wander too far away from where I started. Open up my heart and break her. No gentle waters, no anchor. I'm barely brave enough to keep breathing, but I believe in love. There is fight for. I want more. In the dead of the dark, the hard times on broken branches and lifelines. Remember, it's all a game, a grand design that you can't tame. Open up your eyes and cry then. Mourn your child, your innocence. Then turn around to face this playground and come with, there is enough. So ask for more to fill you up. Nobody's keeping score. Do you know what you fight for? What you fight for? I want more love. There is enough. So ask for more to fill you up. Nobody's keeping score. Do you know what you fight for? What you fight for? I want more of me, more of you, more wandering into night skies with the sunrise side view. More deep breaths, more exhales, more winding off the road for my story to tell. My story to tell. My story to tell. There is enough. There is enough. What do you fight for? I want more love. There is enough. So ask for more to fill you up. Nobody's keeping score. Do you know what you fight for? What you fight for? I want more love. I want more love. Open up my eyes to daylight. I believe in love.
Thank you so much, Michael. Wow, that was absolutely beautiful. Let's give him another hand. We just love Michael Garamoni. Thank you. And thank you to our beautiful and talented Diane King Van, who just leads our way in the music department, our fabulous band. Thank you so much. We are so blessed to have such fabulous, talented people that bless us every Sunday. Thank you. May the stewards come forward, please. It's time for our conscious, committed giving. And if this is your day to give as we receive, that's beautiful. If not, there's a blessing card in the chair right in front of you. And it says this: in deep gratitude for all of my blessings, I place this card in the basket. I ask that these offerings be blessed, appreciated, and multiplied. It is my honor to give my blessing in this way. Thank you, God, universe, and spirit. So let's say our prosperity affirmation together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply, and it symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply. Thank you.
Sing with me. I
love that song. It just lifts me up. As we bless these offerings, we know that as they go out into our community and it touches all the people, that the gifts that we give touches them. We are blessed, we are thankful, and we are loved. And so it is. Thank you. Okay, if we have any guests here for the first time, we have a gift for you. And if you raise your hand, then we will deliver it to you at your chair. Okay, there's one person back here. There is a card within the basket. And if you fill it out and take it into the bookstore, you'll receive another gift. Thank you for joining us this morning. Let's give her a welcome home. A welcome home. Thank you. We have practitioners on duty this morning, as we do every Sunday. A practitioner is a person that has been trained in the art and the science of affirmative prayer in the science of mind philosophy. And this morning, we have Jill Burnett, who has been holding the consciousness, the high watch for each one of us for this whole entire service, which that simply means that she has prayed for us to have an open heart and open mind and to receive all the wisdom that Reverend Alice shared with us this morning. And I want to thank you again. That was really a great talk. That was wonderful. And it reminded me that you never stop loving, that love does not give up. And I'm reminded, thank you. So that was wonderful. So your practitioners today are Jill Burnett and Judy Chapman, and we will be at the tables over here after the service. And now let us have sweet invitations from Clark Wilson. Clark Wilson? Where are you?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we're going to get those cues done at some moment in time. Okie dokies. You are invited to stay for Conscious Connection. Join a small group discussion about today's talk. Mary Brogdon, recent graduate of the Darth Vader Leadership Institute, will facilitate the discussion. Exploring the Roots of Science of Mind with Reverend Alice is a 10-week class that begins this Wednesday, September 13th from 10 a.m. till 12 noon. This is a required course for anyone planning to become a practitioner, so there you go. The books needed for this class are listed on the registration page on Breeze, and a few are available in the bookstore right now today. Also on Wednesday, September 13th at 6:30 p.m., you're invited to join Reverend Alice for MMM. That stands for Meditation, Metaphysics, and Mysticism. Reverend Alice leads a meditation followed by a discussion related to one or more of the M's. Now, Wednesday's a big day for Reverend Alice, so it's a real opportunity for you to get some quality time in person with our spiritual leader. You're invited to join us in supporting the 36th Annual Hunger Walk to end hunger in South Orange County. So far this year, Family Assistance Ministries has served food to more than 27,000 people. The 2-mile walk, there you go, very good, thank you. The 2-mile walk will begin Saturday, September 30th at 2 p.m., starting at the San Clemente Community Center and ending at the Pier Bowl with a completion party for all participants. Please sign up on the kiosk if you are interested, and more detailed information will be provided. Just a quick reminder here about 2 other upcoming events. The first is the virtual gathering of CSL members on September 29th and 30th. Information about that event is available in the lobby. The second is about a benefit concert and luau featuring the Kalama Brothers on October 22nd. They will perform at the Sunday service and then provide us with a terrific concert afterward. To honor the Kalama Brothers, the center is providing a San Clemente luau, which means we are not going to roast a pig in the ground. But there will be pork shoulder. Now, I'm not going to have any of that, so there will be plenty for you. And I'm pretty sure that we're not going to be serving any poi either. Anybody ever eat poi? Anybody ever eat poi? Yeah, you probably didn't know this, but poi was first invented as a roofing adhesive, and somebody mistakenly ate it once, and then it just kind of caught on, I guess. We will be donating a portion of the proceeds to the relief in Maui. We have 3 weekly small groups which are open to any and everyone who is under 5'6". Wednesdays with Mary is a book study on Zoom from 9 to 10:30 a.m. The current book is called Soul Boom, Why We Need a Spiritual Revolution by Rainn Wilson. Shifting Sands meets on Thursday from 10:30 to 12:30 in person and available on Zoom if you can't attend in person because you're just too scared of Mary. Coming Home, Awakening to Spirit is a support group that meets on Friday mornings at 8 a.m. Joyce Fournier hosts this Zoom meeting. For details about these and other activities here at CSLCV, pick up a colorful flyer like this one in the lobby. And now please stand and sing the closing song.
Gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. Spirit love me. I know that. I know that. Spirit love me. Spirit loves me. That's a fact. Let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. When I'm down, turn to you. I turn to you. When I'm down, pull me through. Yeah. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I'm worthy of His love. I'm worthy of His love. I'm worthy of His love.
So let us know that not only are we worthy of this love, but so is everybody we meet this week. And so it is.
And so it is.